What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Beyond the Schmoedown. I'm Star Wars competitor Andrew Dimalanta.
And I'm Nicki Dimalanta.
We actually have more matches to talk about today than we normally do.
Yeah, but two of them we can't really talk about them in depth.
And I say normally is like normally, because normally we would have two matches to talk about. We actually have three, but two are exhibition, and we can't spoil a lot of it because some of you might not be patrons, and if you want to see it, you got to become a patron.
No judgment here.
No judgment, yeah, but
times are tough.
Highly recommend you become a Schmoedown patron.
Sure,
especially
though.
the $10 level you get is probably the best bang for your buck.
No pressure, but you should definitely do it.
Absolutely. But
Definitely.
So the two exhibition matches that we have to go over are the new release dates.
Yeah.
New releases.
Yeah.
And the Back to the Future matches. Which one of those did you enjoy more?
Well,
Because
I honestly think that I enjoyed the Back to the Future match more.
I would agree. And I very rarely, doesn't happen to me a lot, but like I feel like people like in looking at the Star Wars division, people would be like, "Oh yeah, I know Star Wars. I could beat the Star Wars division." And then they watch like 2 or 3 matches in the Star Wars division. It's like, I don't know Star Wars.
Never mind.
I was fully going into this expecting to be able to compete in this one. I was like, "Oh man, I could have competed in the Back to the Future exhibition match." Nope.
Never mind.
Nope. There were some deep fucking cuts in this match. I was like, wow.
I don't think I've seen it. I don't think I've seen the second or third Back to the Future.
Oh,
so, and I barely remember the first one. Marty McFly hits on his mom.
I mean, and
then he invents Johnny Be Good. Gigawatts.
Back to the Future is one of, like, if you just like, hey, name some of the top trilogies, like movie trilogies of all time, like Back to the Future's up there for me. I love Back to the Future.
They go to the Wild West.
And the third, like, I love the symmetry in these movies because, like, they're tropes. They're like everything that happens, like something happens in the first movie.
You're telling me the third movie is a good standalone movie?
Yes. I see it. I remember watching the third one quite a few times. I think the first one is obviously the best.
Maybe I need to watch it before I make any judgments. I'm the asshole.
The first one is obviously the best. I think if you would rank the 3 movies, it goes in order of the release. Like the first one's the best one, obviously.
I feel like that's
the second one
common
is
theme.
The second one is just as good, but it's not as good as the first. And the third one's kind of like the weakest one out of the.
Is the second one where it's like Biff Co?
Yes. It's when
they're like in the future.
Yes, they go to the future, which is 2015. Where are my flying cars already? And then Biff.
Wait, they go to the future in the first one, though.
No, they don't. They go to the past. They go back to 1985. No, they go from 85 to 55 in the first one.
Oh, and the second one, they go to the future and they're like, "Wow, this
they go to the
sucks,"
future
and they come back.
No, they go to the future to help Marty with his kid or something. Biff gets hold of
they go to the future.
They go to the future. Biff gets this almanac. Old Biff takes the time machine.
He bets on some sports.
He
becomes
back.
Rich.
He goes back to 1955. Gives himself an edge to bet on.
Wait, is this in the first one or second?
This is the second one.
Okay.
And then he goes back and he gives himself his younger self a sports almanac that he can bet on sports and stuff like that. That's how he gets his
bet
riches.
on the Patriots. They're gonna become Buccaneers.
Anyways, and then he creates an alternate timeline, and they have to go back to 1955
and stop old Biff from giving young Biff almanacs.
Exactly, and fix the alternate timeline.
And the third one is just like, let's go to the Wild West.
No, the third one is that. So the whole thing is if the DeLorean needs 1.21 gigawatts to jump.
1.21?
1.21 gigawatts.
I thought there was an 8 in there somewhere.
No, you're messing with something. It's 1.21. I'm pretty sure it's 1.21 gigawatts.
I believe you.
I'm pretty sure it is. But he's up in the air
it.
while Marty is doing something else, and he gets struck by lightning and he gets sent back into 1885.
The Wild West.
Yeah. And then the whole purpose of the third one is to go back in time and get Doc from the Old West. What?
I just Googled gigawatts and Urban Dictionary is wild. Oh my God.
Be careful what's on the internet, people. But yeah, so
don't.
Before
I spelled it wrong. That's why. All right. Well, that was weird. Gigawatts. I want to know how many.
It's 1.21 gigawatts.
How do you get 1.21 gigawatts for your time machine?
There you go. Boom. So anyways,
wow. That's why he's a competitor. And
I love Back to the Future. Like it
well,
goes.
I would have sworn there was an 8 in there somewhere.
No, I think you're thinking of the times that because 8 is in the number.
88
a lot of time.
gigawatts.
No,
That wasn't ever a thing.
that was never a thing. But yeah, I love Back to the
Whatever.
Future. It goes like Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, Back to the Future. I'd say Godfather trilogy is in there. The new Apes trilogy is in there too.
Never
so
seen
like,
any of them.
Oh, such good.
There was an
trilogies.
Apes trilogy, but then there was an old one too.
Yeah, but the newer Apes movies.
I've never seen
the
any of
Dawn,
them,
Rise,
old or
and
new.
more. So good. But yeah, I thought I could.
They're
I thought I
far
could
away.
swing it in this match, and I maybe got. Oh my god! I maybe got like 8 questions
I think
right.
I got like none.
I was. It wasn't a terrible score when I was playing along with it, but it was nowhere near the people that were in it. I was like, God, wow! And
Yeah, no. So it was Brad Gilmore, of
Brad-
course, because he wrote a book. Kevin
Back from the
Smith's
Future, yeah.
Rating Intergeekdom champion.
Jay Washington.
Jay Washington and Frankie Numbuzz.
Yes, I think that was,
Janish.
yeah, it was 4-way.
Yeah. Hot. But yeah, it was. I mean, I don't want to like pit matches against each other because they're all their own thing.
Yeah.
But if I had to say between new releases and Back to the Future, I would say I probably enjoyed Back to the Future more.
Oh yeah, it was.
There was I feel like there was more writing on it because it's like, hey Brad, you wrote a fucking book. You should
Yeah.
probably take this, bro. But then you got Kevin Smets, who's the reigning Intergeekdom champion.
And it's an Intergeekdom
You got
category.
Frank Janish, who's got a brain like a steel trap because he's
Yeah.
got to
And
remember
he-
everything
and
ever.
and I think he loves Back to the Future as well.
He
like,
loves Back to the Future.
So
Jay Washington, according to the match, he was a later addition.
I think he was like the day of, like
Oh, boy.
within 24
Props
hours.
to Jay
and that
for
he
doing
did
that.
very well.
He did.
He did very well for such short notice. He did very good.
Yeah, it was a really good match.
Yeah, it
like
was-
because you would figure that it would be like runaway. That's always the. Every once in a while, it's exciting to see a match that's like a runaway victory.
Yeah.
but you don't always want that. You kind of want that like
The times when I like runaway victories are ones that you don't expect.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Like the
like
day
an underdog,
like an
especially.
underdog, yeah. Especially if an underdog wins it, it's like, whoa! Did not see them performing
Yeah.
that well.
But most of the time, it's like I want to see a
ever-
competitive match.
I don't want to see blowouts ever.
No.
Unless it's somebody that I'm going up against.
Yeah. But yeah, I thought that this was it was a very competitive match.
yeah, it was-
much more
it
than
was
I
very good.
was expecting. I don't know really what I was expecting. If I had to just say objectively, my pick was of course Brad Gilmore because he wrote a book.
Because he wrote a book on it.
So if you want to know who won,
Join the Patreon.
either be a Patreon and watch it,
And we
or
wa-
become one.
We
and
watched
watch it.
these out of order, I believe, because the new releases came out first, and then the Back to the Future one came out.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought we watched them in order.
Nope.
Oh.
The new releases came out first, and then Back to the Future came out,
Whoops.
and we watched them backwards. So that's it was like, hey, get to the other one. It's like we watched them backwards.
Whoops.
Sorry.
Did they spoil it? Because I remember, I
No.
remember
No, I
watching
don't-
them and being like, "Oh no, they keep talking about past exhibition matches, and I hope you're watching them in order because they keep saying, well, so and so won this
No,
match,
I
and
don't
so
think
and so
they.
won
I don't
that
think they
match."
did. They didn't. They didn't. But
Maybe not
like
for
the
these
new
two.
releases one was
New releases was Perry Nemiroff,
Nemiroff, the reigning champion.
the reigning champion of new releases. Kevin Smets.
Yeah. No, Special was not in this one.
Really?
Nope. It was her, Merle,
Oh, that's what I'm thinking of.
Oyama, and Brendan Meyer.
Thank you for jogging my memory.
Yes.
Yes, I can see them all on the screen in my mind. He's right. Kevin Smets was not in this one.
Yeah, and this was another one that was very competitive.
It was.
It was
I think my pick for this one
Merle. I
probably
picked,
would have been Merle.
I picked Merle.
Yeah.
I mean, anytime Merle's in a match, it's like even if it's a Star Wars match
Yeah.
and it's against
Just
like
kinda
a
bet on
high rated competitor in the division, I'd be like, yep, Merle.
Yeah.
I'd pick Merle.
It's kind of hard to bet against
Yeah.
him.
And the same with Smets now. Like in the past couple of matches that we've seen him in that aren't Intergeekdom, it's like, wow,
Yeah.
be afraid of Kevin Smets because
Wait,
he's
Kevin Smets or what?
Smets. Like in the past couple exhibition matches that we've seen him in.
Oh, okay.
And it's like, be afraid of Kevin Smets.
No, he's on his game,
He's-
definitely.
Yeah,
But,
not
you know,
and it's not just an Intergeekdom anymore. It's like, wow. I mean, he could. Wow.
he's a beast.
Yeah.
He's
And
a fucking beast.
I don't know, man. Like, I want if we were in like the same fashion, it's like, give me some study habits because, like,
Yeah.
wow, it's ridiculous. And like, I say that it doesn't even matter if it's an Intergeekdom division. If he jumps into any division, be afraid of Kevin Smets. I'm
I think that's a fair statement to
It's-
make. I feel like Kevin
it's
Smets
unreal.
is just a very inspirational story.
Yeah.
Looking at Kevin Smets, he tries out and it's like, Go back to the fan leagues, you nub.
Or go to the fan leagues. He
wasn't in them to begin with?
No, he wasn't.
All right. Well,
He
you're
got sent
banished to the fan leagues, you normie. And then he goes to the fan leagues, and he comes back, and he's like, all right, bitches, get ready for Kevin Smets, because here I fucking come. And then he, comes through like, I mean, I don't want to say hurricane because that's already somebody else's name, but he smashes everybody. He really does it to him. And he wasn't in this match anyway. New release. It was a good match.
It was good.
Like we said, I think I would have picked Dan Murrell. But Paulo Yama, I think at the beginning of the match, he was like, "Welcome to my, neck of the woods," or whatever he said. He didn't say that, but he said something to that effect.
I want to know how Corona's doing in Hawaii, because they're literally
there's a lot of sunlight, and everyone knows that that's the cure. So,
but Hawaii's out in the middle of nowhere. It's literally an island in itself. I'm like, I want to know how that I know it's closer to Asia, where like that's where the hub of everything started, and like people come through there. But like, I want to know like what the numbers are. I gotta look. I want to know. I'm just curious. Every time Paul Yama comes up, it's like, oh, what's going on in Hawaii right now? Because it's like time difference, man. It's like he's got to be up early.
Let's tweet him.
The case.
See how he's doing. I doubt
I think he follows us.
I don't think we've met Paul.
No, we have not met Paul.
No, he seems like a cool guy. Seems pretty chill.
I don't know if he's aware of the show or if he's aware of other. I don't know. Anyways, but yeah, wow,
how embarrassing.
I think one thing that I've gotten out of these exhibition matches is that they could totally do regular league matches this way. It does take a certain,
but with some tweaks. There was something we wanted to talk about.
The speed round, and
yes,
the speed round I find unreliable. It's very because it depends on latency. People with faster internet connections get the questions faster.
God forbid Mike Kalinowski gets into a speed match.
Exactly. So
because internet.
And this is another thing I think they should take a cue, because the fan leagues are totally aware of this internet like latency issue, because some people will get questions faster than others.
Yeah.
And it totally relies on your connection. What they do in the fan leagues is, I don't know about other fan leagues, but for the movie trivia face-off, for the speed round, what they do is it's exactly like round one, except if you get a question wrong, you lose a point. So it's like it's the same format as round one, but there's a penalty for missing questions.
Because, I mean, if we're going to be doing these things virtually, we might have to be prepared to make some tweaks. It's not going to be just like a studio match.
Yeah, we talked about this much on last week's episode with the wheel round. It's like they did it again. It's like this is not. They did it for both matches. They drew
the
numbers,
algorithm,
and it's like, I don't know, because I believe if we're gonna do for exhibition matches, whatever. But if we were gonna do these, and I can totally see them doing these for regular matches.
Yeah,
there needs to be complete transparency for every single match.
I agree. And like I said about 800 times in the last episode, I don't think anybody would cheat.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you want to take for the sake, you want to take measures just for the sake of transparency, so nobody can accuse anybody of anything.
Exactly. And I think drawing categories out of a bowl or a hat is probably the most transparent way to do it.
And showing it in real time.
Showing it in real time, and it's like, this is your category. All right, you don't want it's going back in, and we're mixing it up again. Oh, you got it again. So that's the luck of the draw, and it leaves so much more to chance than Mark Ellis doing numbers in his head. I just don't. I think that's just.
I also find it kind of interesting that why aren't we doing a digital wheel? Isn't that a great application for this?
Digital wheel is even less less random, because we have this experience with digital wheels too when we were preparing for my matches.
Yeah,
you actually download a digital wheel.
It's a little bit too precise.
It's too precise, and like when you would spin a category. And it's like, oh no, I don't want that one. I spin it again. It was too precise that it landed on the same exact category,
or very close. to it.
So I think the digital wheel is absolutely out. I think the fairest way to do it is drawing categories out of a bowl or a hat.
I agree, just for transparency's sake.
Yeah,
but I'm not running this shit.
But that's the biggest thing that I get out of this, because nobody has complained about these matches. Everybody's been raving about these matches.
Yeah.
And if at some point, because
I haven't been looking through all the comments on the master posts.
We have matches up until the 15th of this month. We're in May, people.
So close. How are we already there?
And it's like, what are we gonna do? Are we just keep releasing exhibition matches? We're gonna at some point they're gonna have to do regular matches that lead to points
Yeah.
the divisions because we're basically past the halfway point for the season.
And we're just kind of at a
And we're
standstill right
yeah,
now.
and we're basically at a standstill because we're
Kind of.
we're at the point where the leaders are starting to pull away, and the people that are in like the bottom half of the leaderboard aren't going to be able to pull themselves out of that hole. We're starting to get to that point. It's really the leaderboard is really starting to shape out where people are going to fall at the end of the season. And if we don't do something about that quickly, I mean,
You're going to have to start knocking people out real quick to make
exactly.
that change
And then
significantly.
Exactly. So, for all we know, they open things up and they have an agreement with Collider's like, hey, we'll film matches, but we'll be very careful about distancing people, sanitizing all the equipment when we're done, because we got that email. All the competitors got this email when they were thinking about shutting things down. It's like, all right, so we're taking our precautions. The free for all had already been to the point where it was shut off from the public and only competitors are going to be allowed. And they're like, all right, this is the measures that we're going to take to make sure everybody's safe. And it was ridiculous. It's like, all right, only competitors and managers allowed. We're wiping down the mics after every single match.
So does that mean you're not using these foamy pieces of shit? Because there's no way you can sanitize that.
I imagine that have backups, take them off, spray them off, and then have another one in as like not a backup, but like you switch one for a fresh one and then spray down or sanitize the one that was just used and then set it off to the side to dry or something. Yeah. Something that matters, but they were just going to sanitize all the equipment after each match. I think they said they were going to I got to go back to that email and watch it, but they said that they weren't doing post-match interviews with Jen Sturge or anything. I think they would either do them at the desk, so you stay where you are, and the people at the desk interview you, or they're just going to X out the interviews straight off.
No, we shouldn't do
that. You got to do what you got to do. I'd rather
just do it from a distance.
Yeah. I mean, I'd rather do that way and get matches.
Yeah. I want content either way, so you got to
It's not even a matter of having content. It's a matter of getting the season back up to speed, because right now we're just crawling and like
kind of scraping at what we already have.
Yeah, exactly. So like I could see that happening, and at the very least we do a couple of like rookie matches over StreamYards.
Yeah.
I said last episode I think it'd be fantastic to do a Star Wars tournament over StreamYards. Get your
especially since people are spread out. Yeah, we said that last time.
And get your number one contender that way, or at the very least have like a tournament to get into the Celebration match.
God willing.
Or if Celebration doesn't happen, they still have a live event or something lined up. So you have your number one contender in the wings waiting for that. For maybe you have a number one contender waiting for Alex to see Alex at Collision, whatever the hell that happens. Yeah. Or you just have it waiting for Spectacular. God, I would hate for that to happen. But I something needs to happen because we're getting dangerously close to the last match they taped.
Yeah.
So, but leaning back to the exhibition matches, I think StreamYards is the viable solution now.
Oh, it's a great platform for this.
I just think it needs to be tweaked a little bit.
Yeah, got to make a couple little, adjustments here and there, which I know is to be expected. And I don't know. I just don't mean to be one of those people that like nitpicks everything, even though I know I've nitpicked stuff. I'm an asshole, but I think my biggest thing so far has been the round 2 wheel spin, because it just feels so awkward.
Yeah, and the speed round again. The speed round is so like, because they didn't have buzzers, they yell at their names.
Yeah,
which it's a fair substitute, but again, the whole thing is latency. What happens if somebody you're getting a question asked and somebody just like freezes?
Well, latency, and I feel like if you just yell louder, you sound like you'll chime in faster. Mm-hmm. Like if you're louder, like if I scream my name louder than he screams or louder than he says his name, then it's gonna sound like I buzzed in first.
And I think again, it's all fun because it's exhibition matches, but I think if they end up doing actual season matches over StreamYards, it's only 3-round matches, so it doesn't really matter who buzzes in first or anything. So I can see that happening, but bottom line, I think it's a viable alternative to what's available.
I think so, definitely.
And I honestly think that it'll all end up working out, and we'll have to go to extreme measures for like safe distances between competitors, wiping down mics and shit like that, and just go to extreme measures to make sure everybody's safe during recordings. And, if you're not on camera, wear a mask. Just shit like that, or you're wearing gloves or something. I think they went as far as to like they're going to leave doors open and sanitize doorknobs after every match, just to make sure contact with things are to a very minimum.
Yeah.
So
'Cause I feel like that's something people aren't really paying attention to. Is like,
yeah,
you're wearing your mask, you're wearing your gloves, but you're still touching doorknobs.
yeah,
every
because
which way you go.
you had to not school somebody, you had to educate somebody.
No, not at all. Schoolings.
Yeah,
There was just somebody on Twitter.
Yeah.
That asked me about, because I made a comment about wearing gloves at grocery stores, which I think is fucking useless unless you do it a certain way.
And I think the only people that know how to do it properly have had medical.
Well, the
training.
reason that I have the opinion that I have is that that's all it is an opinion, is because I do currently work in healthcare. I might be administrative right now, but I used to be clinical for a good number of years.
Oh yeah.
So, and part of my every single day was sanitizing and turning
Infection
over
control, basically.
infection control, sanitizing and turning over operatories. And so, yeah, I mean, I see people doing shit with gloves. And I'm like, wow, you're just wasting medical
so
supplies.
for those, just because people do listen to the show, if you are thinking about wearing gloves out in public, I think this would be a perfect opportunity for you to like spread the knowledge, because
I mean, I don't mean to take this on like a lecture or anything like
just
that.
Just very like TLDR it, basically, like
TLDR, too long didn't read, for those of you that don't know what that means. Basically, I think it's useless. I feel like a dick.
Yeah.
I feel like it's useless to go to the store with your gloves on and like you touch everything, and then you're touching your shopping cart, you're touching shit on the shelves.
And this is assuming everything you're touching is infected.
And that's
or dirty.
the way that I looked at things when I was clinical. Anything that I'm touching is assumed to be dirty or soiled. So if I'm going out into the world, I'm touching a shopping cart, I'm touching something on the shelf, that's assumed to be dirty because 5 bazillion other people have touched those things. People are stocking the shelves. Who knows where those hands have been? A million other people are touching the carts. Who knows how well they're wiping them down? So it's assumed to be dirty. And I'm touching it with my gloves. I'm touching shit on the shelves
So now
with my
that
gloves.
you've touched dirty things,
My hands are now
dirty,
soiled, contaminated, whatever word you want to use. So now if I take my gloves and I'm reaching into my purse, I'm reaching into my pocket, I'm touching my phone, I'm touching
Your phone is now
my
dirty.
wallet,
Your wallet
touching
is
my
now dirty.
credit card.
Credit card is now dirty.
Everything's now dirty. And then, I go touch the number pad. How many fucking other people? They're not wiping down and sanitizing that number pad after everyone uses it.
Doubt it.
And if you're going to touch dollar bills, y'all, those are disgusting and always have been.
Oh,
and
yeah.
coins, you telling me you're going to wipe down your nickels?
I remember reading
Doubt
somewhere
it.
that money is probably one of the highest forms of infection
That's
or
disgusting.
transmitting diseases, basically, because it trades hands like on a daily basis.
Yeah. And then you got that person who's checking you out, the cashier and the bagger. They're not wiping. I mean, and not to say they're doing anything wrong. This is part of their job, but they're not washing their hands and sanitizing between each shopper. They're just going to ring you up, bag your shit, put it in your dirty ass cart, and then you're going to go put that dirty shit in your back of your car.
Yeah.
And if you're doing all this with gloves on, what's the point?
Yeah.
You're not protecting anything. You're just making everything dirty with latex instead of skin.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
So if you were using gloves, the most effective way to do it is don't touch any of your personal stuff.
In my opinion, if I'm out in the real world, my stuff for me is the clean stuff. My purse, my phone, my wallet, that's all clean relative to me. So if I'm going to go touch this with gloves on and that's dirty because it's not mine, and then I want to go dig in my fucking purse, I'm going to want to take that glove off and ideally perform hand hygiene and wash my hands for 20 to 30 seconds and hand sanitizer, then reach into my clean stuff with my clean hands.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, what's the point?
Yeah.
Don't mean to lecture. I could go on. I could go on and on.
So bottom line, just wash your hands.
Bottom line is just be aware. Don't
what
do
you touch.
things that are
Yeah.
unnecessary. Just be aware of the fact that if you're wearing gloves and still touching every fucking thing indiscriminately, what's the point? You might as well touch it with your bare hands and wash your hands all the time.
Yeah.
Anyways, back to the Schmoedown.
Public service announcement from Beyond the Schmoedown.
Yeah.
Andrew and Nicki.
Personally, personal opinion. Not it doesn't reflect the organization I work for. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Personal opinion.
So
whatever.
Yeah, so we have a couple more exhibition matches coming up. We have the
Marvel,
the MCU
Movie
one,
release dates.
movie release dates, and Jurassic Park.
Oh.
Yeah, Jurassic Park's coming.
Is it Cody and Perry again?
It's Cody, Perry, and Greg.
Alba.
No, Barbarian.
Oh, Craig, not Greg.
Not Greg. Craig.
Craig.
Yeah.
Not good.
And
Greg.
Jesus, I'm such an asshole. I forgot to mention it at the very top. So,
Yes.
speaking of Craig, gotten some of the worst news. I don't mean to bring the show down, but Faction Mate, this past week, he lost his wife to cancer.
Yes.
And I'm so upset with myself that we didn't mention it at the top of the show. But it's just if you do follow him on Twitter or something, just I mean, at the very least, words can help, because we've both been through this, having tragic losses in family members. But
very much.
Yeah, and every you might not think that, like, hey, just as simple like, hey, I'm sorry for your loss. It goes a long way.
It does.
I haven't gone that far as to, like, we're in our own little I just wanted to give him space. Again, this is all, like, from my experience. Like, sometimes, like, it can help saying that, but there are times where it's like, I don't want to talk about this right now. I want to, like,
everything is overwhelming.
Everything's overwhelming. I just want to, like, and it comes to time where I do want to read all that stuff, but I wanted to give him space this week. I wanted to just, like, I know he listens to the show because he's asked to be on, and he was supposed to be on the week before, but obviously he had to deal with that stuff. But I do want to let Craig know that we are thinking about you, and we're all condolences. All, like, we can't imagine what he's going through right now. So yeah, just we just want you to know that you are in our thoughts. I just wanted to give you some time, to
process
everything.
everything.
And everything and all that. So
yeah.
And again, I'm so upset with myself that we didn't mention that at the top of the show.
Yeah.
But
I did watch the video, because I did see that Craig wanted Sonia to be
present.
I want to say enshrined is the word that he used. I think that's the word he used in Schmoedown canon.
Just known to the people.
Yeah, but like forever emblazoned, enshrined into
Yeah.
Schmoedown canon, and she was brought onto a live stream for one of the tapings, I believe.
Yeah.
And I just remember watching a video, and it was Mark Ellis and Craig and Sonia, and she got to be in there a little bit, and it was wonderful to be able to see her and hear her. And
yeah, and
I just
I'm also kicking myself because I've been talking to him back and forth, because obviously we're faction mates and we have our own private DM, and we're talking to each other, encouraging each other, and I was like, God, we're so stupid. I remember when he got drafted, he like almost walked up to the stage and was cheering. I'm like, we didn't meet you in person, and he's like, don't worry, man, next time. And I'm also upset with myself because his wife was there.
She was
at the draft, and people got to meet her, and we didn't get to meet both of them.
I didn't know she was there.
Yeah, she was there. So now I'm kicking myself even more. It's like, God, we didn't get to meet you. We didn't get to meet your wife. So it's like, God,
I didn't know she was there.
It sucks.
My gosh.
It sucks. But yeah, so we're going to try to transition out of this. That's why I wanted to do it at the top of the show, so we wouldn't have to.
Yes,
yeah.
I can't imagine. It's hard, because it's like, what do you say? I went through a very a different type of loss, but a absolutely devastating loss. Actually, last week marked 8 years since that loss, which blows my mind. And it's just kind of like, it's like, what do you say?
Yeah.
There's nothing you can say,
mean,
but just knowing people are there for you.
At the very least, hey, we're here. And
We're
that's
here.
that's enough.
That's all you can really do.
Speaking from experience, for both of us, it's like, as long as you let that person know, I'm here. That's all you got to say.
I feel like that's probably one of the best things you can say.
Don't, it's like, you can write poems, you can send things, you do all that, but at the very least, just letting that person know, hey, I'm here.
I'm here.
If
you just want to talk, if you whatever.
You don't even have to go on the stage. Just like, hey, man, I'm here for you.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's
because there's nothing you can say that's going to make it better.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of like letting you know that we're here for you.
Even though the same thing happened with Paul Preston, the community, we cannot say enough about this community from our experience and from what we've seen, the support for Paul Preston and for Craig. They raised up over $20,000,
something like that, yeah,
on a GoFundMe that Paul set up for Craig, because he's like, I'm gonna do this for him so he doesn't have to worry about this.
Yeah,
that's insane. That is unreal.
It's it's beautiful. It really is.
So I'll look up that link and I'll post it in the description of this video. So if you do want to help out, go ahead and head over there. I'll do my best to find that link and put it in the description. So so we're gonna go try our best to transition out of this as we go over the actual match.
The main match.
A
team's
of this week.
match. So this team's match, let me pull up my notes. The team's match is between Rogue 2.
Which I want to know the history behind that name.
And the Wicked. I want to know the history of both their names. Because Rogue 2 just kind of makes me, it feels like Star Warsy to me.
Probably.
So I'm just curious where that came from. And also the Wicked, like dirty boys. What is the Wicked, you know? So the Rogue 2 is Liz Shannon Miller and Adam Halavic. They represent Swag.
This is a very interesting team. Just to
Very
talk about this team, because Liz Shannon Miller was like a brand, like a new star to the Schmoedown last season,
And she was talked up by Ethan Irwin,
yeah,
right?
and she just ran into a wall when she was in the tournament, I believe.
Yeah, she did. I think she did.
Yeah, and it was just I just think she's one of these, like, it's a lot like Ethan, where it's just pure knowledge. And
Yeah.
like if she actually sat down and studied a little bit, she can elevate her game. And if she really dedicated herself, she can be unstoppable. I feel the same exact way about Ethan Irwin. Ethan Irwin just goes in like, I know this, I know that, and like you really doesn't put in the effort like other
Like
competitors.
strategy wise.
Yeah, strategy wise, study wise, like he could be unstoppable if he put in the time, like Bateman and Rokas and things like that. So, and then Halavic, I really didn't. It's like, oh, he's jumping into teams.
Was this his first non-Intergeekdom match?
No. He's competed in non-Intergeekdom before.
Oh, okay.
It's just like usually when you think about it, it's like, oh yeah, he's an Intergeekdom player.
Was this his first teams match?
I think this. No, he competed a team with Navarro. It was DC Movie News, I believe.
Oh fuck.
And they did all right. They didn't do great. Granted, this is back in season 3 or 4, one of the early seasons when the Schmoedown was finding its footing in the Collider era. But yeah, it's just he's. I think people forget that he is pretty knowledgeable in general movie knowledge, especially in movie release dates. He competed in that first movie release date exhibition, so he's got that for him. So this is a team where I was like, this is interesting, an interesting matchup.
Yeah.
So it's like knowledge, and Halavic knows the game pretty well. So it's that balancing act and chemistry act. So I think that's what they're banking on. It's just that pure balance.
Just got to make that chemistry happen, baby. Yeah. And then we got the Wicked, who is Jim Vejvoda. I love that name. It's so cool. And then Jared Habon. They are the Wicked, and they represent the rock stars.
Yeah. And Habon, I think, is a pure IG player jumping into teams.
Yeah.
And I don't mean this as disrespect. I was never really impressed with his performance in the IG because I think he won one match, and I can't remember who he competed against. I just remember it being like, okay, yeah, he won. But like I haven't been really like impressed by him, by his IG, because he kept going up against people and losing. He went, and granted, his losses are against strong, like really strong competitors. So, and then Vejvoda was another competitor who is just like just straight movie knowledge and less on the strategy. And like again, this is another team where it's like that they're relying on that balancing act of the strategist with the knowledge base and hoping they can meld that together.
Would you consider Habon the strategist?
Yes. Because he was like 1 in 3 in the Intergeekdom, so he knows the game pretty well. It's just his knowledge base really hasn't come to play as much. Even though he really did impress me in this one, I was like, oh, okay, he knows more than he's letting on to. So
yeah, this I don't really know. Wait, okay, so we had Rogue 2 versus the Wicked. I think it kind of sucks. It's kind of a cop-out for us to be like, well, my pick was in knowing the outcome. But hand to God, our pick in this match was probably Rogue 2.
Yeah, because for the pure fact of the whole history with God, I already forgot his name. Habon.
Habon.
Habon was like, yeah, I'm not really impressed with his performances, so I'm going towards a stronger IG. Because I really thought when we looked at this, because we both knew how knowledgeable the other two like regular league competitors were. So we're like, all right, so this is really going to lean on the IG competitors, and Halavic is the stronger IG competitor.
Yeah, because the interesting thing about both of these teams is that it feels like it's a regular singles/teams competitor matched with an IG competitor.
Yeah,
more or less. And yeah, if I had to bet, I would. If I had to, I feel like an asshole again. But if I had to bet on Hlavik versus Habon, I would take Hlavik.
And that's not. Just based off their records, it's not a bad choice.
Anyways, let's get into it before I feel like more of a dick. So the Wicked comes out with Roxy, Stacy, Anna, and Draco. Rogue 2 comes out with Winston, RB3, and Chandru. Lips. Winston. Oh, I forgot about this. So Winston, after everybody makes their entrances, everybody sits down. So as you may or may not know, Jared Habon was part of The Bachelor.
Yeah, that's where he met his wife.
It's where he met his wife. I would really hope. So Winston, after everybody makes their entrances and sits down, Winston takes the microphone and he goes to Roxy and he starts making this like
big to do and
make this speech to her. And
make
ultimately,
it propose.
Yeah, ultimately it ends up with him offering her
an L
as if it were a rose. And he goes, would you take this L from me or something like that?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. For me, that's a moment of the year contender.
That's like, whoa, that's
that
awesome.
was a fantastic moment.
Good.
That was very, very ingenious. I loved that moment.
Yeah.
And Roxy was, of course, like, man, fuck you.
Another thing I want to talk about, because it's Habon's part of the rock stars.
Yeah,
I really think this is more of a friendship loyalty pick for her, not so much strategy wise.
She's friends with his wife.
She's friends with both him and his wife. So I think it's more of like, hey, we're friends. I'm gonna pick you. I don't know how much, and for all I know, it's like, hey, I know you're my friend, but I know you're good at this, so I'm gonna pick you up. And everybody's overlooking you, so I could be speaking out my ass right now, but like to me it was more like, hey, we're friends. It'd be me and a manager, like, hey, you're my wife, you're my number one pick.
I don't think it was that.
I don't know.
I don't think
that's
so.
the way I see it.
I think it might have been a little bit of friendship, but I think it was also like, I think you know what you're doing.
Yeah, and again, he really did like impress me in this match. Like, wow, okay, cool. He did better than I expected him to do.
Yeah.
So
anyways, round 1. I didn't really take any I didn't really have anything in round 1 that happened that I had to take any specific notes on questions or whatever. But I do remember being, and I don't mean to downplay their pasts.
Yeah.
But if it is just kind of, funny how with both these teams, it feels like there's a regular competitor and an IG competitor.
Yeah.
Although I know that that's not probably the right thing to say, because that's probably a dick thing to say. But I was really impressed by, Hlavik, you said had done non-IG before. But I was, I'd forgotten about that. So I was very impressed with Hlavik and Habon, both as people who would be normally associated with Inner Geekdom.
Yeah.
So, Vejvoda and Liz, I would expect that from them to do well, and which still a good job. Doesn't mean you didn't do a good job, but it's to be expected.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was pleasantly surprised by Habon and Hlavik.
And to play devil's advocate, I'm not saying that this is like how they did in the first round is whatever. We've talked about this before. Like the first round questions seem to be not easier, but for lack of a term, they seem to be quote unquote easier this season. Like not as difficult as round 2 questions. So just to play devil's advocate, like how much of that does that factor into Hlavik and Habon's Habon? How much does that factor into how many they got? But regardless of that, I still think that was because I can't jump in, like even though the questions are easier this season, I can't jump in there and go like, oh yep, hey, boom, boom, perfect round.
No.
It's like I could not do that.
I don't.
So
I probably got one.
I think I got like 4 for this match. So that's just saying how much they know about that. So again, I'm not downplaying how they did. Just playing a little like, hey, here's a counter argument to that. So
yeah. So round 2,
we got to have other perspectives on the show.
Round 2, the Wicked spins first. They get biopics, and let's go back a little bit. Let's backpedal a bit in the pre-match interviews, like the promos, whatever you want to call it. The Wicked, they were talking about. Roxy was talking about how in the past, Vejvoda had a match against Roka.
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah,
and I guess Roka spun opponent's choice.
Yes.
And Vejvoda
Gave him
biopics.
Now, I think based off that, it wasn't that it was a combination of him not knowing the game.
I don't know if it was a teams match or a singles match.
I can't remember
just
what
to cover my own ass.
Yeah, but I think it was a matter of that, he didn't realize that was one of his strengths. He picked it because it was one of his strengths. You know what I mean? So it's like say...
I still wouldn't give somebody a
say
strength
Star
away.
Wars was your one of your strengths.
Which it would be if I had to pick one.
Yeah,
I
and
still
we're
would
going
not
up
give it
against
to
we're
this
going
guy.
up against each other in an IG match. You've never, this is the first time we're playing against each other.
I'd never give you Star
spin it,
Wars.
Yeah, you never. But in this case, you spin it as opponent's choice. You don't know my strengths, and you give me Star Wars. That was basically what the situation was with him and Roka.
So in the promo, I don't exactly remember that match that they're referring to. I imagine it didn't go Vejvoda's way.
No, it didn't.
Judging by using context clues.
It had a lot to do with that second round.
Yeah. So they were saying, Roxy was saying like, hey, we're going to reclaim biopics. If we spin biopics, guess what? We're keeping it. Fast forward to round 2. Guess what? Wicked spun it.
This is
on the first spin, and they stay true to their word. Gotta respect
that. This is what I love about the Schmoedown. It's like karma is such a thing.
Oh, for
karma
sure.
and like what call it fate. I don't know, redemptions. This is what
Red Dead Redemption.
It happens all the time in the Schmoedown. It is ridiculous. It's like you can't. It's not like they write this thing on purpose. It's like that's the way it just happens.
And the best part of it was I love that they spun biopics on the first spin.
Yeah.
So they had the absolute choice to say I'm taking it or I'm not taking it. It wasn't like it was a second spin. It's like, oh, I guess we're taking biopics. They got it first spin, so they had every opportunity to spin away, but they said, nah, fuck it. We said it, we're sticking with it, and I respect the hell out of it.
They ran with it, didn't they?
Yeah, so they spin biopics, they stick with it. They went multiple choice twice, but they got both of them. No steals, according to my notes. So they did a good job. I would say that he redeemed him.
Not that he needed to be redeemed.
Not that he needed to be redeemed. And also, the reason I kind of hesitate like that is because I think Jim did the heavy lifting in this round.
Yeah.
I think Jared was just there to,
yeah.
Cheer him on.
But I think what this does is I think he said this so much not to jump around a bit, but like he said it this much in the post. That's like I don't want to hear that stuff about giving Roka biopics anymore.
Yeah.
So it's pretty much just erasing that mistake.
Yeah, it's kind of like, all right.
I want to hear. I want everybody to stop talking about it. Shut up about it already.
I made a mistake, but I
rectified it basically.
That's a good word. Good word.
Ooh,
good word.
Big words for Andrew today,
so
people.
Rogue 2 goes and they spin DC Films.
Clear strength for
I wonder if they stayed with it. So they stayed with it.
I mean, he's part of a team called DC Movie News or Comic Book Movie News or something.
No, I think DC Movie News was Kalinowski's team, right?
I think so. Yeah, it was Hero Movie News. So it is a part of the channel they used to be a part of.
It was geek stuff.
Yeah.
So
geek
DC
category.
is probably something that
somebody
they like.
somebody correct me in the live chat or in the comments below, please.
Yeah, because DC Movie News I think was the Kalinowski.
Yeah, that was the
team.
Kalinowski one. Sorry.
So Rogue 2 spins DC Films. They keep it. They went to they keep it.
Oh my God.
They went to multiple choice one time. They missed it.
What was the question? You remember the question?
Oh, I wish you hadn't asked me that. I don't know.
Look it up on YouTube.
I don't know.
That's fine. Whatever.
I'm sure if we could just kind of riff a little bit in post, you could find it and then put it right here. And then we can know what question they missed. And then, oh, wow, look at that. They missed it, but then the Wicked stole it.
Yeah.
And pan back to us. So at the
I'm leaving all of that in.
Yeah, well, because I know that he can go back and grab the footage.
That means
and
more
put it in
work.
there.
It means more work.
He's gonna do it anyway.
I'm gonna do it anyways. You're gonna see it. You're gonna see it. So just read the question on the screen.
He's gonna do it anyway. So at the end of round 2, I don't remember if I said the score at the end of round 1, but whatever. Here we are, round 2. It's 21-24 in favor of Rogue 2 after round 2.
Yep.
So going into round 3, it goes 2 point. They decide to give it to Jared. I would have made the same choice. Yep. He gets romantic comedies. Something about Silver Linings Playbook. Jennifer Lawrence,
who plays
J-Law.
her character.
He gets it right. An appropriate 2-pointer. Because, come on. 3-pointer, obviously. Jim takes it. He gets musicals. He gets a question about an MCU actor in Mamma Mia, Here We Go Again.
That's a rough one.
Oh,
that is a rough one.
Never seen it. That's a sequel, right?
Yeah,
I've never seen the first one either.
Didn't hear good things
All
about
I
it.
know is that they really fucking like Windex or something, and they're Greek.
No,
But-
that's My Big Fat Greek Wedding.
Mamma Mia isn't about Greek people getting married?
No, it's about it's Meryl Streep's in it. Amanda Seyfried is in it.
How
You're thinking, Mamma Mia.
Here we go again.
Mamma
Mamma
Mia. It's a
Mia.
musical.
I know it's a musical, but I thought it was about Greek
My Big
people.
Fat Greek Wedding is not a musical.
I thought it was about Greek
You've never-
people
have you ever seen that
spraying
movie?
Windex on shit.
Have you
I
seen-
have not
Oh
seen
my
My
God.
Big Fat Greek. I
It's-
know Joey Fatone's in that one because I was an NSYNC-er because NSYNC was clearly better than Backstreet Boys.
I mean, yeah. I've
Can
said,
we all agree on that?
I've said.
Am I right?
I think
ladies?
I've said it on Call to Action that like I was one of those guys that like NSYNC, whatever.
And then you're like, bye, bye, bye.
Yeah, and I go in my room and listen to Bye 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 for like 5
Hell
times.
yeah, you probably tried to do the dance a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, I know. I
man.
know.
I was just one of those guys. I didn't want to be embarrassed because I liked NSYNC.
So, and I respect that because NSYNC was better.
Oh yeah, no.
I don't care who you are. NSYNC was better.
Mm-hmm.
So, but the interesting thing that I think about this question is that the question was about an MCU actor who plays Sky in Mamma Mia, Here We Go Again. And Jim's answer was Stellan Skarsgård. And I believe, and he got it wrong. Sorry, spoiler alert. And then in the post-game interview, he said, I stand by Stellan Skarsgård. Because the answer that they said was Dominic Cooper, the guy who played Howard Stark in the MCU. He's like, I stand by Stellan Skarsgård. He was in the MCU. Well, I mean,
What character was he?
Stellan Skarsgård?
Yeah.
I have no idea. I mean, I could look it up if I could look it up real quick here.
Skarsgård.
But the thing is that I'm not sure why you would stand by that answer just because, I mean, if we're going to pick things apart here, Dominic Cooper, also in the MCU, he's Howard Stark.
Yeah.
Just because he may not have had as much screen time as Stellan Skarsgård over the course of the MCU canon, you're still an MCU actor if you were in an MCU movie.
Yeah.
And also, if you're going to say who played Sky, nobody else played Sky but Dominic Cooper.
Yeah.
Stellan Skarsgård didn't play Sky just because he was also in the MCU for longer.
Yeah.
So I'm not really sure why you would stick by that
Wait.
answer.
So he said Skarsgård?
Yeah.
Who does he play in Mamma Mia? Because I think the sequel takes place in 2 different timelines. I only know this because of the trailer.
Sure.
I did not see Mamma Mia part. Here we go again. Because there's a whole different storyline where they flash back to younger Meryl Streep, right? And I believe this character might be played by 2 people. Maybe that's what he's hinting at.
No idea.
I have no idea why he would stand by it because they're asking a specific character.
Stellan Skarsgård played maybe somebody named Bill.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, I just thought it was weird that he was like, I stand by my answer. But it's like, only one actor can... I mean, I know you can have 2 actors play one role, whatever.
I mean,
but
maybe
if you're
that's
gonna
what he's
say
hitting
who
at.
played this one person,
Yeah.
this one person played that one person. It's
Yeah.
just kind of... Stellan Skarsgård and
yeah.
Dominic Cooper both did not play Sky. So I just thought it was a weird...
Yeah, that's
hill
what
to
that's what
die
I was
on.
wondering. So if they both didn't play that same character, then he has no
I just
footing.
thought it was a weird point to make. But whatever.
Whatever.
I'm the asshole. So he misses that. 5-pointer. Dramas. A question about who held Joy and Jack captive in Room.
Oh, what was the name of the guy? The name of the main bad guy, the guy that
And
held them.
They missed it.
That is a ridiculous 5-pointer.
Never heard of it.
You never heard of Room?
I've heard of Panic Room with Jodie Foster. Love
This
him.
is with what's her name? Room is with Captain Marvel. What's her name?
Brie Larson.
Brie Larson, I believe.
Oh,
That's
wait.
yeah. I believe that's the movie, right? Look it up.
I don't fucking know.
Don't let me hang. I'm pretty sure that's what it is.
Okay, hold on.
So
Everybody
Room.
just hold your pants
But
on.
yeah, like this is again. I've said it before. They need people that are in the singles and team division need to start like Ben. I
Yeah, it was Brie Larson.
yeah. I cannot argue Ben
Good job.
Bateman's success in the movie Church Schmoedown, but you have to watch movies, especially for 5-point questions, because 9 times out of 10, a 5-point question is going to be plot based.
I mean, this one you could have gotten from IMDb.
You could have,
arguably.
but it is like I haven't seen Room. I plan to, but like I argued maybe his name is said like twice in the movie.
And maybe just from looking at something like IMDb or Wikipedia, you might not realize. I don't remember what the name of the answer
you might not realize
was.
that's the guy.
Exactly.
So you have to watch the movie for this. So like, if any of my faction mates are watching this or listening to this, watch movies because
let's pump our brakes and not give advice to people like Ben Bateman. Let's just pump our fucking brakes here.
Well, because this is a clear example. The match between.
Oh no!
What?
Can I just
undo your thing?
There we go. Okay.
But here's my argument, because this came to bite Ben in his 5-point against Dan Murrell. This is a plot-based question.
I'm still saying let's not tell Ben Bateman what to do.
I'm just saying, man, if you're competing in teams or in any division, especially in the teams and singles, because IG and Star Wars have more plot-based questions in other and questions overall. But if you're in teams and singles, 5-pointers are more likely to be plot-based questions. So watch your movies, competitors. If you want to compete, watch your movies. Even because there's this argument comes up all the time. It's like, oh, it's a shitty movie, I don't want to watch it. And it's like, you got to watch all the shitty movies, man, if you want to compete.
Ben, if you are at all...
I'm not directing this at Ben.
If it's at all possible that you're listening to
this isn't directed at any single person. It's a broad statement. If you want to nail those 5-pointers, watch movies and pay attention to the plot. Because it'll probably come back to bite you in the ass.
I love everybody in the Finstock Exchange.
I do too. That's why I'm saying, just pay attention, because I want our faction to win.
That's a good sentiment. We just want to win.
Just a broad statement. I mean, everybody, like, whatever.
Let's just tiptoe away from this. So at the end of the match, it's a TKO. Rogue 2 takes away the win in TKO fashion, 23-24.
And these were points that the Rockstars
they could have definitely
used
in the post match for swag. The winners, the winrars. Winston says that Roxy was talking mad game. I don't know if those were his actual words.
When is Roxy not talking smack?
That's what Roxy does best. Can't knock her if she's trying.
Yeah.
But he said that Roxy was talking mad game, saying that Winston was inexperienced and whatever. And he said, well, guess what? I watched the Schmoedown. Hey, and a brother does his research. He said he loves that Roxy finally accepted that L that he gave her. That was just like...
Man, you cannot... I know his rookie season as a manager, but you can't, like...
He's showing up. What he's doing.
Winston and Kate... doing really well as rookie managers. They're doing really well.
Exactly. You can talk all you want about... I mean, granted, we still have a lot of season left and all that kind of bullshit.
But I've already said this, that we're starting to see where people are...
Things are shaking out a little bit more.
Teams are starting to position themselves to where they're going to end up at the end of the season. Because corruption, by the end of the season, you might be able to dig your way out of your hole, but you're probably going to end up in the middle of the pack.
It's a long way.
It's a long
It's a big
climb.
hole.
The dungeon is the same. I think is in the same position. It's going to take. I think they have a better shot at it. Maybe because of Parker and the IG getting more points, and this is banking on the fact that Parker will knock everybody out. But even then, you might come in third at the most, because
we'll see. Time will tell.
Again, I think
strange things have happened.
Again, I might be eating my own words, because we still have to get into the tournament, and I think the tournament is where people are going to start to grasp and really make up some ground.
Yeah, because you definitely can't say at this point like, those in the lead are going to stay in the lead.
Yeah,
like,
but if it wasn't for these tournaments coming up, I would say like it's going to be hard to overtake the leaders. So but like. Winston is because
doing pretty
right now.
This
this win puts Swag in third place behind the Den.
No, I would say they're tied in second because they both have 10 points. No,
but the Den has more wins. So when they have
push comes
points,
to shove.
Yeah, because if season ends now, it's like we have to declare a second and third. The tiebreaker is the record.
Oh.
Den has the better record, so they get second place.
I was just looking at points.
No.
What an idiot
so
I am.
Yeah, you have to think of these things.
Points wise, they're tied at second, but everything else wise, the Den is still edging them out a little bit.
Yeah, Den has like one win over them. Not over them, but they have one more win than the Swag does.
Yes. So. And then in the post-match interview for the Rockstars, Roxy thought that they did all they could and that they just got a very hard 5-pointer, thought they played well together. Roxy said that the major victory was Oh, okay. Roxy said their major victory was biopics and overcoming that, hurdle. And said that the Rogue 2 spinning DC was basically them spinning winner's choice, which I...
Spinner's choice. You said winner's choice.
Freudian slip much. So them spinning DC was basically them spinning spinner's choice.
That's the game.
Which
it's the game.
The game. I mean, I get that you're trying to make lemonade with your lemons.
Yeah.
That's the game.
That's the game. I mean,
you put slices on the wheel for a purpose so that you can spin them. Yeah. And if you spin them, then that's why you put it on the fucking wheel.
We've seen people. I mean, I think Roxy. Yeah, it was the Odd Couple. We've seen them get upon. Was it Who's the Boss or the Odd Couple got? Yeah, the Odd Couple got opponent's choice, and they ran through that category. They got Star Wars,
that's
and
right.
they did decently well in that category. So you can't. The wheel spin it's the game. You can't just can't blame it on the wheel.
She still said that the fact that they ran through opponent's choice means that they should have won or they were the better.
Yeah,
they
but
them.
Now you can't just turn that around here and then they got the category that they wanted. That's why they won. It's like, well,
you had just as much of a chance for you to get one of your categories.
You can't pick apart your wins and your losses by this logic. I think this is just her again. This is her just trying
to make lemonade out of lemons because
not save face, but
both teams put the same amount of
Yeah.
slices on the wheel. Everybody had the same amount of chance to get their slices.
Yeah,
whatever.
it's just I just think sometimes hey, you lost, just take it on the chin, move on.
Well, she does, which she does. And then she said Winston did a good job. She said, but she's coming back. This isn't the end. It's the first time that Jim and Jared. I almost just said Andy because I was looking at this right here.
Oh, yeah. That's notes for a different show.
It's the first time that Jim and Jared played together, but it won't be the last, is what she was saying.
Yeah,
they're gonna come back.
I think they get one win and then they're into the tournament.
Yeah,
so
because they're an interesting team.
They are.
I think it was on, and I don't mean to keep fucking bringing up Ben Goddard's streams in this show, but I think Ben said on his stream, I think it was his stream, wouldn't it have been interesting if they paired, not to discredit Jared Habon, but wouldn't it have been interesting if we saw a Jim Vejvoda with Stacey Howard as a team? I think it's a toss-up between the two.
Yeah.
But, it's whatever. I'm interested to see who she does eventually get paired with. I'm assuming she'll get paired with somebody.
Yeah.
I don't remember who else is on the rock stars for her to be paired with. But I'm sure that Roxy's cooking something up for her.
Yeah.
So, yeah. That was the Wicked versus Rogue 2.
So I believe next week's match is Zipper versus Howard. Do we want to give
I think you're right.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, let's give a prediction so we're not looking like assholes.
God, this one is... It's tough to call because Zipper, again, not shitting on him, but his history isn't great, but he
started shining with the dungeon.
Yes, he's a much improved player.
But he's not with the dungeon.
Yeah, he is. He's with the dungeon.
Is still?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he's still with the dungeon.
I wasn't
The only person that they didn't get back into the dungeon was Oyama. He was with Swag now, and he's doing really good.
Right.
Oh man, because Howard is I think the most inconsistent player.
One of,
if not the most inconsistent player, I would say, because
I'd say
she has some of the biggest upsets, but then the very next match doesn't come to perform.
Yeah.
So I've always equated her to that college upset team that this unranked team. Sorry, sports reference. Unranked football team that beats the number one team in the country, and they're like, yeah, awesome, and then they get rocked in the very next week. That's what happens to Howard a lot. So it's like, do we see the Howard that upset Mark Riley and Mark Ellis, or do we see the Howard that got knocked out by Rachel Cushing?
I mean, Rachel Cushing is definitely...
I know it's no schlub, but she just came off a big win. You think it's like other competitors would take that win and take that momentum with them. And it doesn't feel like she takes the momentum with her in their next match.
I feel like my gut tells me to pick Zipper, but then I guess my logic comes up hey, and says, hey, remember last year when everyone was making brackets for the tournament and everybody bet against her?
Yeah.
And she was the bracket buster.
Yeah.
So my gut tells me to go with Zipper, but then my logic is like, but Stacy.
Yeah.
You know.
But like it's like Stacy's one of those competitors that like if she admitted she doesn't study. She said several times like, "Oh, I don't study like the rest of these nerds." It's
And
like
her reputation is being a good guesser.
yeah, and it's like she's one of those competitors like if she did minimal studying, she'd be a very formidable opponent. Her play wouldn't be as inconsistent as it's
Yeah.
been shown to.
Have we ever seen Howard Makuga? Because the Battle of the Guessers.
Yes, I think we have. Yes, we have. And I think she beat him.
I don't remember, but maybe.
Yeah. I believe we've seen that match.
That'd be an interesting match.
But I think if she's one of these, if she did put in the work at the very minimum, like maybe look at notes like once a week.
Who are you going to go with?
Again, I'm a lot like you. My gut says Zipper.
Yeah.
Who you pick first?
Oh, no. I was going to try to get you to go first.
All right, so I'll say Zipper. My gut says Zipper. I always like to listen to my gut.
For argument's sake, my gut says Zipper, but because I'm often wrong, I'll go with Stacy.
I actually don't see this as being a runaway for either of them.
No, I don't think it's going to be
I think it will be a close match.
I think it will be a fun, slightly more lighthearted, but still a fun competitive match.
Yes. I think it'll be a close match.
So I think I'm going to go with Stacy because I remember betting against her in the tournament last year and see how that went.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go with Stacy.
Okay, so I'll go Zipper.
Yeah.
All right, so now that we got all the out of the way and we talked about that, we're going to go to Patreon topics. And if you are a patron commander member of the squadron, you get to dictate the conversation on our weekly shows Beyond the Schmoedown and Going Rogue. We have a message from Tamor Butter, who says, let me bring it up. Sorry. What are some matches you were looking forward to but didn't happen last year? And what are some matches you'd be looking forward to next year if big he puts capital if Spectacular doesn't happen this year? So basically, what are some matches that you didn't get to see last year you would like to see happen this year? Oh boy. And if so basically what kind of matches are you willing to see this year and next year if Spectacular doesn't happen?
I'm so bad at these kinds of questions.
So
I'm so bad.
I'm going to be biased. I want to see a Star Wars tournament. We have the competitors for it.
I agree.
Because we have 10.
Yeah.
It was only through I believe two of the new competitors didn't go are free agents. They didn't get drafted. And we just need more Star Wars matches. Period.
Yeah.
I want to see a Star Wars tournament.
Agreed.
So
I also think that. Whoa.
You always do that.
I always fucking do that. Who are we supposed to see? Chandru versus Mara?
No, we're seeing Chandru versus Smets for
Who
the
are
IG
we
title.
supposed to see?
Who we're supposed to see Chandru versus Kalinowski, but Kalinowski turned that match down. It was supposed to be a
and then the winner of that would have gone against Mara, and the winner of that would have gone against
Okay,
Kevin.
so no, at very first, it was supposed to be Smets versus Mara. Mara had medical issues, so she had to drop out.
That's a match I would like to have seen. Go on.
Yes, and then we got
Chandru Kalinowski.
Kalinowski dropped out because he wants to focus on teams, and now we're getting Smets versus.
So I'd
Chandru.
say I would like to have seen Mara
versus-
Smets.
Yes, absolutely.
Because I feel like Mara has been chatted up a lot, talked up a lot, not without merit, because she's very good. But it's just been a while since we've seen her. So I would love to have seen her go against Kevin. I think it would have been a fantastically is a word? A fantastically competitive match. And I would have also liked to, because Kalinowski is just, he's a pleasure to watch in Inner Geekdom. He's fun to watch in anything. He brings so much to the table, but also he's been really dominant in Inner Geekdom. So I would like to have seen him go against Chandru. I think the smack talk would have been amazing between the two of them.
Great.
Imagine Kalinowski going, full throttle against Chandru with his
and
smack talk, and then
"What's up,
Chandru
bro?"
just like flossing around him.
What's up?
Like, I think that would have been great. So I would have liked to have seen those two.
I definitely think the Smets Mara match would have been really good, because just remembering, I want it. So besides that, if next year say everything does go off and we do get spectacular and then we do another draft, I want to see Rachel Cushing come back to the league. I want to see her come back to IG, and I want to see that match that we almost got but didn't. I want to see Smets versus Cushing. I think that would be awesome.
Didn't Rachel somewhere kind of hint that she might come back?
Yes, she said on backstage that, like, because Roka was like, oh, I'm gonna come out and say, are you ever coming back to the movie Sugar Schmoedown? She's like, I'm not ruling it out. Okay. I'm ruling it out for this season, but it's possible for next season. So I want to see her come back. I want her to see her compete in only one division.
Yeah.
I want to see her come back to IG.
Yeah.
And I want to see Smets versus Cushing.
On that Rachel Cushing note, I would also like to see a Rachel Cushing versus Mara Kanopik round 2 where they're both well.
Oh my God, that
because
was,
that first Cushing Kanopik,
so
it was amazing, but those two women were struggling.
Yeah, because Rachel
it's
was
almost
sick.
to the point where not even almost. It's to the point where I don't know that I want to rewatch it because it just makes me kind of uncomfortable.
Yeah,
just knowing that they're both suffering. So I'd love to see a rematch where they're both ready and well.
How about this? We have a fatal 4-way IG #1 contender match between Kalinowski, Chandru, Mara, and Rachel.
Yeah.
A fatal 4. How awesome would that be?
Oh, yeah. And then winner faces Kevin. Oh,
Assuming Kevin still has the belt.
Well, he's doing pretty fucking
He's
good.
doing,
So.
and again, I said it at the beginning of the show. Do not sleep on Smets in
Hell no.
any division.
Kevin Smets is fucking rabid.
I would say
he's got the belt and he's still hungry.
Oh my God! I would say because he said that he's making a Star Wars debut this season. This season he wants to make his Star Wars debut.
Damn.
At first I was like, okay,
that
yeah,
boy crazy.
okay, cool. I'll cool. Now that we've watched all these exhibition matches and like the fact that he's still at the top of his game, not in just IG but other divisions and other categories, it's like, all right. So now that you're jumping in, I know how much you're preparing for things, and now that I think it will almost definitely translate to the Star Wars division. It's like now I got to prepare not only for Damon, I got to prepare for Smets now.
Yeah, because he's a fucking
because
beast.
Arguably, if I do have to go on this run to get to Damon, I'm most certainly gonna have to go through Smets now.
As long as he does make his debut this year.
And he said that they've been talking about this match between Roka and Smets, and Roka's got a tall task if that happens. He's got a very tall task.
Because I think in one of the exhibition matches, I think Kevin mentioned, like, holding a belt during quarantine, it might be kind of easy to get rusty because, there's not that much pressure with matches coming up and over. But he's not letting that stop him.
He's not.
Like, he's just using this time to his advantage, I think.
After watching him in these last couple matches, I whipped my phone out. I was like, okay, I got to start studying now. Not that I haven't been, but I'm starting.
All right, who was Rogue Leader? Who was this? Who was that?
But yeah, so now that I know what to I've known what to expect out of Smets in other divisions. Now that I know that he's going to treat not that I doubted that he wasn't going to do this, now that I know he'll treat it the same exact way now it's like, all right, so it's going to be not looking past him, but like I got to prepare for him even more now.
He's fucking tenacious.
Yeah.
Is what he is.
So,
it's like, hey, give him... I mean, he's dominant in Inner Geekdom, which is how many bazillion movies? And then you tell him, hey, listen, just study this little subset of movies.
Yeah,
and he's just going to fucking crash through it.
But my argument is very, like, a lot of people fall prey to this. It's like, I can study Star Wars. I know Star Wars. And then it's like, whoa.
It's a bit of a different beast.
12th Moon Out. Come on. It's like...
Inner Geekdom... arguably along the same lines, but I do subscribe to the thought that Star Wars is a bit of a different studying tactic. I don't fucking know. I don't compete in any of the leagues.
It's that argument of detailed questions. Singles and teams, it's like, all right, here's your detailed questions. Then you go to IG, it's like, all right, there's your detailed questions. Then you get to Star Wars, it's like, all right, there's your detailed questions.
Which makes sense because your question pool is that, So you're going to have to get that way.
I am going to be studying even harder, even knowing now that I'm going to have to eventually go through him. But I do still have that in the back of my mind that he's not 100% prepared for the level of questions. I could be wrong, but I'm not going to take that lightly.
Well, and also, I would never want to. I'm glad I don't have to go against him because if he looked at me with his mad dog face, I'd probably start
He's
crying.
got one of the biggest mean dog.
I'd
faces ever.
probably just start crying
And I would
on
argue,
site.
I would argue that Brendan Meyer has an equally mean dog face. Have you seen his mean dog
Brendan
face?
Meyer, I've talked to that kid too much.
No. If you watch him on backstage when he's not talking, he has this like resting like mean dog face.
I got resting bitch face too. I've talked to Brendan enough to not be phased by his bitch face. Kevin Smets, I haven't talked to that guy.
Yeah, you have. We talked to him at the draft.
I stood in a circle during a conversation with him. I've never talked to him. I've talked to Brendan Meyer in that that bar.
He's gonna be on Going Rogue in the next couple of weeks.
Still,
So.
if Kevin Smets came up to me in his hoodie, in his mad dog face, I'd just start crying. So
anyways,
Glad I don't
thank you,
have to face him.
for that topic. Tamor Butter.
Tamor Butter.
Squadron Commander. Again, $20 tier. The Commander tier gets you to dictate the conversation on these shows. But I think we're going to go ahead and wrap this show up on Beyond the Schmoedown. Nicki Dimalanta, where can they find you online?
Well, my dear, I never call him that. Gross. That was weird.
That was weird.
On the internet, in the interwebs, on twitter.com, I tweet things with the handle at Dimmy. DIMMMYYY.
These pauses are great for our audio listeners.
Yes.
What happened to the feed?
You're welcome.
As for me, you can follow me on Twitter and Twitch at Drew Dimalanta, DIMALANTA. Do us a big favor and
do us a solid.
Do us a solid. If you're listening to this on our podcast feed, go ahead and rate us on wherever you're listening to us, Apple Podcasts, Anchor, Spotify, wherever you listen to these. Go ahead and favorite us and rate us just to get us seen by other people on all that. If you're watching this on YouTube, like the video, subscribe to the channel, comment on the video like you guys do so well for
comment. Call me out on anything I'm wrong on because I'm probably wrong.
If you can't subscribe to the Patreon or anything like that, likes, comments, shares, subscriptions, ratings all help us out tremendously. You have no idea how much it helps the algorithm. YouTube is constantly changing, but likes and shares and comments and subscribes always help out the channel and the channel. And if you do want to become support us on Patreon, go to patreon.com/Andrew and Nicki to become a member of the Squadron. I just introduced a new I scaled back the captain tier from 15 to 10. And then also for the officer tier, the $5 one, I'm introducing a new perk to where I've decided that I want to move forward with my short film that I've been putting off for the longest time. But I'm going to be doing these video journals, just updating you guys on my progress from that. And I'll be taking feedback from you guys. Like, all right, do you like this plot? Do you like this character? And you can suggest things like character names, plot development, things like that. So I want it to be I want to take you guys on this journey as I try to finish this thing. And it'll keep me honest to get work done on that. So join the Patreon at the $5 tier for that. So anyways, we're going to go ahead and wrap this episode up. Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Beyond the Schmoedown, and we'll see you
next
time.
time.